Good evening. Madam Council President, honorable members of the City Council, state representatives and senators, department directors, community partners, and fellow residents of our great city of Providence. I'm pleased to be here with you this evening to present my proposed budget for the upcoming fiscal year. When I took office, I promised our residents a city hall that would be focused on providing excellent city services, investments that will improve their quality of life, and a focused agenda that will ensure a stable economy for our future. I also called on every member of our community, many of you in the room tonight and tuning in, to be a part of the process, to stay engaged, and as often as possible, to share great stories about things that are happening in our city every day. I believe that the work we have ahead to make Providence the best-run city in America is guided by meaningful community engagement. And I've been delighted by the amount of people who have taken us up on that call. Before our first week was even over, we announced our education workshop that gathered students, parents, educators, and community members to discuss how we can improve learning opportunities outside of the classroom, invest in our school facilities, and better prepare the Providence schools for return to local control. My administration will now be using that information, your voices, and your lived experiences to guide our decisions in those three key areas. At the next opportunity, we asked you to provide input on who should be our next chief of police. Through this process, you told us which issues are most important to our community, and you showed up in droves to hear from the candidates, and together we welcomed our 39th chief of police, Oscar Perez. Colonel, please stand. As soon as that process was complete, we asked you again to weigh in on the quality of city services so that we can take a critical look at how to best serve you, the community. Over the course of a month, thousands of you responded, weighing in on which services you used and how to make the most improvement. This work has helped reinvigorate our city services office. And in this budget, we will build a new 311 system that is efficient for staff and user-friendly for you. In the last 113 days, you've helped guide us on how to make City Hall an asset to every resident and business owner within our 20 square miles. And I want to thank you for getting involved and for trusting our administration to get the job done. Now we're going to get Providence back on track and provide a focused agenda. In this administration, remaining focused will look like simple services, being prioritized and done efficiently, on time, every time. Shortly after she started, our Director of Public Works, Patricia Coyne-Feg, heard from a constituent that no one had ever followed up on her concerns. So she took that constituent for a walk in her neighborhood to see what needed to be changed. Our Public Property Director, John Martin, has been meeting with constituents to hear from them about how we can better address their concerns about graffiti. Our Director of City Services, Norelis Consuegra, has visited almost every neighborhood association in the city and is helping constituents get connected to the right service or the right level of government every day. And our Parks Director, Wendy Nilsson, is driving a team of dedicated staff members to keep our parks clean and to find innovative ways to connect neighborhoods through green spaces. I would like to ask all of the city's department directors to please stand so that we can give them a round of applause and thank them for their hard work. This is the kind of hands-on, on-the-ground work that we are committed to, and exactly the kind of quality public customer service that you can expect to see out of our City Hall. And while we remain focused on city services, we are also committed to tackling some of the biggest challenges facing our city. Most importantly, ensuring that all people who want to live in Providence can find a home in our great city. In the next few years, we will build new housing units at every price point. We will improve the quality of housing in existing units and help people break cycles of homelessness by providing wraparound services in new, accessible, low-income, and affordable housing. The budget I am presenting tonight seeks to provide relief to renters who have carried the impact of our high commercial property taxes. We know that too many of our neighbors are burdened by excessive rent. These properties will see a $1,900 decrease in their taxes, and those savings should be passed on to their renters. This budget also proposes a new housing support coordinator who will work with partners to provide the appropriate level of response to people who may not have a home, many of whom are also living with mental health and substance use disorders. This position will work across departments to make sure that as a city we are coordinated in our response to this housing crisis. And we are budgeting for an increase to Amos House for their Hands Up program that provides employment opportunities to residents who may be experiencing homelessness. In addition to this program, Amos House has been working every day since last December to support our neighbors in need at the Cranston Street Armory. Eileen and her team have been there for our community, responding to the changing needs through every step of this crisis. Her team has stepped up in whatever roles are necessary, and we are so grateful for their work in our city. Eileen, please stand so that we can thank you and your staff for their hard work. In this budget, we are investing in the right things to improve local quality of life in every neighborhood. And I'm taking the same approach to investing in recreation and making sure that our out-of-school time resources are more accessible to our families. We need to continue investing in education and recreation while we plan for a successful transition back to local control of our schools. We have heard loud and clear from community members that we need to better communicate and market our after-school programs so that every child and family understands their options for robust learn and play opportunities right in their own neighborhood. That's why this budget continues to make investments and increase resources to programs like PASA and our city's rec centers so that so many of our youth can connect with adults who care about their success. Under the leadership of our new Recreation Director, Stephen Grace, we are better connecting these opportunities, and we will be able to promote them in the community. I hope that all of you will join our team, hundreds of providers, and thousands of parents and families this Saturday at our Summer Opportunity Fair at PCTA, because every child in Providence deserves a robust learning opportunity this summer, and we're making them available. This is how we move forward as a community, offering our residents high-quality city services and taking consistent steps forward to improving our education system. Let's also take the next step forward by strengthening public safety and supports in our public spaces. I'm incredibly proud of the progress we've made in just 4 months in Kennedy Plaza. Sadly, data tell us that we're experiencing an increase in illegal drugs and overdoses. But by working across agencies, the Department of Health, RIPTA, the Governor's Office, we were able to increase our public safety presence during peak hours in Kennedy Plaza so that everyone in our downtown neighborhood feels safer. We've also made naloxone more accessible to those who need it. And through the work of partners like Weber Renew, we are providing direct support to folks struggling with substance use disorder. And this is just one example of how my administration is committed to working across agencies to address our biggest challenges. In this case, increasing public safety and providing better supports and services. Trust in our police department. The trust that our police department is consistently building in our community is what's going to make our ATV strategy successful. Our new community support team, community response team, will be using investigative resources and information from the community to proactively stop riders from reaching our streets, where they endanger themselves and endanger others. And when illegal ATVs and dirt bikes do get out on the streets, Providence police will respond. They will hold them accountable and stop them for all the dangers that they present to our city. In just 3 weeks since we've launched it, the community response team has seized 34 unregistered illegal vehicles from our streets, and we are just getting started. I look forward to working with Colonel Perez, Commander Lanny, and the rest of the command staff to continue to make progress on these and other public safety challenges. But to do so, we need to recruit and hire more officers into the Providence Police Department. In this budget, we are requesting funding for a new police academy underway of 30 officers and bring an additional 40 officers into the pipeline the following spring. And we're going to provide these officers with better technology so that they can do their job and do it well. And finally enforce our noise ordinance. Throughout the last year, I have heard loud and clear what a problem sound is in our city. Whether it's loud nightclubs, modified mufflers, or ATVs, we need to do a better job of respecting and enforcing our own existing sound rules. This budget increases enforcement, technology, and training that our staff need so that we can hopefully finally provide some relief to our neighborhoods. We're building a Providence that our residents will be proud to call home by prioritizing these issues that make their lives better. In addition to setting a focused agenda when I took office, I took a serious look at every facet of city spending. And what I found was clear. Our current system is not sustainable. In the last 3 years, one-time federal funds were used to cover budget gaps that now exist without a permanent solution. And just last year, taxes were cut to historic lows, making Providence the 8th lowest property tax rate in the state, even though we service the most people and nearly half of the land is tax exempt. We are likely on the brink of a recession, and relying on irresponsibly low tax rates will not prepare us for what's ahead. That's why, in addition to proposing a commercial tax decrease, we are also proposing a modest increase in the residential property tax rate. And after these changes, we will still have the 11th lowest property tax rates in the state. These changes will keep us competitive with other communities and, more importantly, ensure that we have a solid foundation for whatever might come. This budget shifts us away from reliance on one-time federal dollars being used to fund annual expenses. It accounts for a large tax appeal settlement that we inherited, and it fully funds our pension payment, which continues to increase by 5% every year. Together, these decisions will set the city up for success over the long term, and we are doing our part to sustainably grow the city's tax bases. And a critical part of the city's ability to balance its budget lie in the payments in lieu of taxes that we receive from major anchor institutions. For the first time in 20 years, the city has an opportunity to redefine its relationship with these important stakeholders. This is a top priority for my administration. Negotiating pilot payments that address the demand that these big nonprofits have on city services is an issue of basic fairness, and they will have an impact on city finances for generations to come. That's why, in addition to negotiating for increased pilot payments, we are also pursuing legislation at the State House to compensate the city for instances where the meds and eds buy buildings and then lease them to for-profit entities while being granted tax exemptions. And thank you to the Providence delegation for working so hard to pass this and the next piece of legislation which we have asked for, which is for the state to provide us a portion of new payroll taxes whenever these institutions grow, so that instead of fighting their growth, we can benefit from it. The city needs these funds in order to keep paying our bills and to provide high-quality city services that we all deserve. The meds and eds also need Providence to be a place where students and doctors and researchers and their employees want to be. I am more confident than ever that we are putting Providence on the right track. We continue to see bond rating increases. Most recently, Moody's upgrading Providence to an A3 status. We have built an incredible team of talented and dedicated public officials that are committed to making Providence the best-run city in America. And we're prepared to take on the most difficult challenges that are facing Providence and so many other cities around the country. Things like the housing crisis and navigating how to grow in this new economy. Now, because so many of you took me up on it last time, I want to renew my ask. Please stay engaged. We want to hear from you on how to make Providence a world-class city. I'm incredibly proud of the budget that we're putting forward together because so many community members helped shape it. And there will certainly be more opportunities for you to weigh in and use your voice in the months and years ahead. In the year to come, Providence will grow sustainably, and our businesses will flourish. And with this budget, I'm proud to say that Providence is now and finally focused on the right issues. Thank you.